I bet you didn't know the World Bank just pulled off a move so massive. It sent shockwaves through China and catapulted the Philippines onto the world stage. For years, China's influence at the World Bank seemed unshakable, shaping global finance and steering decisions to suit its ambitions. Beijing's presence was everywhere, its rise a masterclass in economic strategy. Billions flowed, alliances formed, and the world assumed China would always lead. The dragon's grip on the world's treasury only tightened, until, in a single, breathtaking moment, everything changed. The World Bank stunned the globe with a move so bold it felt like a declaration of independence. $1 trillion, redirected, not to China, but to the Philippines. The world watched as Beijing was sidelined and Manila was thrust into the spotlight. Its fortunes transformed overnight. This was more than a loan. It was a seismic shift in global power. The balance had changed and nothing would ever be the same. The world held its breath. In the wake of the trillion-dollar thunderbolt, a new chapter in global history was about to unfold. The World Bank isn't just a bank, it's a global institution with influence that stretches far beyond simple finance. It's the bank shaping the destinies of nations, quietly steering the course of history from behind the scenes. Founded in the aftermath of World War II to rebuild a shattered Europe, the World Bank was born out of crisis and hope. Over the decades, it evolved into a global force against poverty, funding everything from roads and bridges to schools and hospitals in developing countries. Its power lies in conditional lending, loans that come with demands for reform, transparency and change, often reshaping entire societies in the process. This gives the bank leverage to reshape economies and governments, steering nations toward free market principles, environmental protections or even political reforms. The World Bank is a pillar of the post-war order, dominated by the US and its allies, reflecting their priorities and values on the world stage. Its decisions are never just economic, they're geopolitical earthquakes, sending shockwaves through governments and markets alike. When the World Bank moves, it signals who's in favor and who's out, often determining the winners and losers in the global economy. A massive loan is more than just money. It's a public endorsement, a vote of confidence that can rewrite a nation's future and alter its path for generations. The real power isn't just in the money, but in the message it sends to investors, governments, and ordinary people around the world. And with this trillion-dollar bombshell, the message was deafening. A signal that could shift alliances and rewrite economic destinies overnight. The world had just witnessed the loudest statement of the century. A reminder that the World Bank's reach is about far more than just money. China played the long game, seeing the World Bank as a prize to secure its superpower status. It increased its financial stake, placed its people in key roles, and quietly steered the agenda toward its interests. Beijing's model, state-led, infrastructure-focused, became the new gospel for developing nations. The goal, transform the World Bank into an instrument of Chinese ambition, especially for the Belt and Road Initiative. Controlling the bank would legitimize China's projects and cement its dominance. But the trillion-dollar announcement was a strategic catastrophe for Beijing. Decades of careful maneuvering went up in smoke. China believed it had the institution in its grasp until the game flipped. The shock was realizing they didn't own the bank after all. The rules had changed and China was left on the outside. The world was stunned. A $1 trillion Philippine Prosperity and Security Pact, a deal that promised to transform the Pearl of the Orient. It wasn't just another loan, but a sweeping partnership for development, infrastructure, and defense. Imagine new cities rising, skylines transforming, and communities thriving. High-speed rail, smart airports, and modern ports would connect the islands like never before. Manila's gridlock? Gone, replaced by futuristic subways and seamless public transport. But it was more than infrastructure. It meant investing in people, education, technology, and healthcare for every Filipino. Defense modernization would make the Philippines a force in the region, securing its sovereignty. The Philippines was no longer a pawn, but a queen, commanding respect and influence. For a nation long underestimated, this was its moment to rise and claim its place on the world stage. Why the Philippines? Geography, diplomacy, and destiny converged. Sitting at the heart of the Indo-Pacific, the Philippines controls a choke point for global trade. Its new leadership has built a web of alliances, US, Japan, India, and Europe, all converging here. The Philippines is now the fulcrum of the new global power balance. No longer just a US ally, it's the nexus for all major democratic powers. The World Bank's decision reflects this reality, a reward for strategic courage and a bet on stability. A weak Philippines would invite Chinese dominance, a strong one stabilizes the region. The choice was a masterstroke, empowering a reliable partner at the world's most critical crossroads. It was the right move at the right time. The Philippines had become indispensable. The trillion-dollar pact hit Beijing like a thunderbolt. Years of investment and influence vanished in a moment of public humiliation. State media scrambled to spin the story, but the images from Manila were impossible to ignore. The world was celebrating the Philippines, while China's narrative crumbled. The illusion of China as the benevolent leader of the developing world was shattered. The pact exposed the Belt and Road as a trap, not a gift. Beijing's options were limited. Military action would confirm the world's fears. Withdrawal would mean surrender. China was outmaneuvered by a nation it underestimated and an institution it thought it controlled. The trillion-dollar shock was a brutal lesson in humility. China had been spectacularly put in its place. For Filipinos, the announcement was a national deliverance. The trillion-dollar infusion promises a Filipino renaissance, progress touching every corner of the archipelago. Infrastructure will transform daily life, efficient transport, modern ports, and renewable energy. Millions of jobs will be created, fueling a cycle of growth and opportunity. Talented Filipinos abroad will return, bringing skills to rebuild their nation. Education and healthcare will be revolutionized. New universities, world-class hospitals and research centers. This is an investment in human capital, empowering the next generation. With a modern military and booming economy, the Philippines will negotiate from strength. Backed by powerful allies, it can secure its territory and resources. The Filipino people are building a new destiny. Now, the question isn't if the Philippines will rise, but how high and how fast. The era of the four Asian tigers is giving way to a new leader. The Philippines has a vast young population and rich natural resources. The trillion-dollar investment will unlock this potential, modernizing infrastructure and agriculture. As global corporations seek alternatives to China, the Philippines becomes the top destination. We could see a migration of capital and industry, making it the new workshop of the world. Challenges remain. Managing this windfall requires discipline and transparency, but the opportunity is undeniable, a once-in-a-millennium chance to leapfrog decades of development. The next great Asian giant is stirring. All signs point to yes, the world is watching in awe. The World Bank's trillion-dollar move is the first shot in a new era of global alliances. It signals to Asia, Africa, and Latin America there's an alternative to authoritarian debt traps. The West is back in the development game, investing in partners who share its values. Other Indo-Pacific nations are watching, seeing a new path to prosperity and security. This could spark a wave of strengthened alliances, creating a resilient network of democracies. The Philippine model may become the new blueprint for development. For China, it's a strategic nightmare. Its Belt and Road initiative dealt a near-fatal blow. The world has seen a brighter, freer alternative. The global order is being rewired, and alliances now matter more than ever. The game has changed for the better.